short ball, Raven moves back and falls fastly past square leg. So this is cricket.
Victory to the Australians by 8 wickets.
He's got him! Got him! Down! He's got 2! Beautifully caught!
He's done it.
That is an excellent 100. The last ball, can you believe that?
Hello, and welcome back to the JR podcast and to our new show, Under the Lid, where we are going to discuss everything cricket at the moment, and especially right now as it is the Ashes, so Australia versus England in Australia. How are you, big dog Rich?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Oh, mate, I'm doing well. It's good to be back. Good to see your lovely face.
Yeah, it took you 30 seconds to introduce me, but that's fine. That's
Man,
all
I got
good.
to
All good.
introduce the show first, mate. The viewers count more. Anyway, what we're going to be discussing today on our podcast is we're going to be looking at the first Ashes test that happened about a week ago now. Just over the weekend, it finished with Australia winning by 9 wickets. So a bit of a thrashing. Then we're going to go through our man of the matches for Australia and for England, surprisingly. And then looking at pretty much our team predictions before we get on to our special segment at the end, which we'll get to.
So keen for it.
Very excited. So, to get us underway, we're going to look at the first Ashes test results. Now, mate, it all started. First ball of the Ashes. Stark steaming in from, I don't know what end, what is it? I got no idea.
No idea.
Don't really know the ends.
25 metres away from it.
Yeah. It was a beautiful moment in Ashes cricket, which I think will go down in history. And people will be talking about this moment for a long, long, long time. He had so much criticism going in. Everyone said, even myself was saying, I don't know why he's in the team. He's in such bad form. But they stuck with him, and he made a breakthrough in the first ball, just completely bowling Rory Burns. Wow, he's a bad cricketer. That's all I'm going to say.
It was not the best ball, which proves that Burns is probably not the best opener as well. Just spot. It was going leg, swinging leg. Just could he have left it? Probably not, because he hit the wickets.
Exactly.
You know?
He did leave it, pretty much.
Leave it.
Unintentionally.
But yeah, hey, or maybe that's part of Stark's plan.
Maybe, mate. Maybe he's been studying. Maybe he was going to bowl leg. Maybe he's like, I'm going to bowl leg because I know he moves across the stumps.
Everybody's just going to leave the first ball out, always. Just going to bowl straight into the wickets.
Make him play,
Sliding
mate.
leg.
I'm sure his plan was always to bowl at the stumps and make him play the first ball, but I just don't... Well, I remember the Cummins interview afterwards, and they said, like, was that a planned event? And I remember him saying, like, oh, it wasn't exactly what he probably thought. I don't think he'll say that, but it paid off. So I feel like the idea was always to bowl on the stumps, but I think it was just a bit more down leg side than what he wanted. But, mate, it ended up working, hey?
Yeah. Look, I mean, Australia got a solid start. England were down? What was the score? They were down bad.
Yeah, they were down really bad.
In the
They were
first
down, I
innings.
think, 4 for 29 at one point.
Yeah.
Their innings sort of got saved a little bit. They would have been out for under 100 comfortably if it didn't get saved by Ollie Pope and Butler in the middle there.
Yeah.
Which I actually think Ollie Pope looked really good in that first innings.
Yeah.
I think he got a bit unlucky, and I think he edged one, didn't he, to the slips cordon? From memory?
He got caught by Hazelwood.
Hazelwood, that's right. He went for
Cameron Green's first wicket.
Oh, that's right. Cameron Green's first wicket. Yeah, he went for the big heave off the legs, didn't he? Went all the way back down. It was a great catch from Hazelwood. So I think he got a bit unlucky in that first innings. But other than that, they pretty much were woeful.
The Australia bowling attack was really good.
Yeah.
5 for Cummins.
That's it, yeah. A 5 for Cummins on debut as Test captain.
Hasn't been done since Richie Beno.
Yeah, that's huge.
Apparently, ages ago.
That's huge.
And also nice to see Cameron Green get a wicket after doing nothing last series.
last series, yeah, when India came. I think he bowled consistently, but it was just a bit too short.
Yeah.
So this time, he bowled a little bit short at the start of the innings for him, but I think after a couple of overs, he really started getting that in the line and length.
Yeah.
Pitching it up a bit, enticing them to to hop on the front foot a bit more rather than hopping on the back and just slapping them away. But yeah, no. So
So they were set a target, or they had a lead of 147.
147, which is just not enough on a Gabba pitch. Like at the end of the day, I don't blame Root for batting first. Because at the end of the day, Cummins came out right after that and said he would have selected the bat as well. So it was just a good toss to lose, I think, for Cummins.
Yeah.
So I think the argument of saying, he was an idiot for choosing the bat first when it was a green pitch. But I mean, you just never... I don't think you ever choose not to bat first at the Gabba.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows the Gabba pitch is easier to bat on it the first couple days, and then
especially when they didn't have their pick of their bowlers.
Exactly, when they didn't have the pick of the bowlers. Yep, they were down Broad and Anderson for no apparent reason because they didn't actually seem like they were carrying an injury.
Yeah, they were resting because they played the 2020 World Cup.
That's true. Yeah,
and yeah.
So yeah, they were put down pretty bad. Australia came out.
They didn't start off hot. Because
Marcus Harris is just one of the...
He got out, I think, maybe the 17th ball or something like that?
I think it was even less than that, wasn't it?
5.2 overs.
There you go. That was pretty bad.
And then,
Warner got dropped about 2 times.
Yeah.
He got clean bowled by Stokes on a huge no ball.
Yeah.
So his innings got very, very, very lucky, I think.
So I think, but Australia did manage to put up a target of 425. But I think that's... in terms of good performances, it's just Marnus and Travis Head.
That's it. Marnus was seeing him like absolute beach balls, mate.
Yeah.
He would have felt like he missed out on 200, I think, because he did not make a foot right. Did not hit a bad shot until that. After going after
Jackie Leach.
Leachy.
But did get out to Jack Leach. Maybe that's the mastermind.
Maybe they wanted to go after him.
Just lob it up for him to hit it. And
that's
just
it.
Top edge it, I guess.
That's it.
They
were probably the main performances, and Head with a huge... what a great innings that was.
152 or 148.
Imagine going for more than 100 strike rate in a test match when he scores 150 runs.
And shout out to Cameron Green for getting a golden duck as well.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Nice to see he doesn't do both things at the same time. Just picks one.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Just I feel like he needs to stop leaving the first ball. He's done that. I think the stat was he's got out from the first ball 4 times this year because he keeps leaving the first. He keeps coming across his stumps too much and leaving it and misjudging the first ball. So
maybe if someone balls a bouncer to him, he'll hit it.
Maybe.
But
everyone knows is to bowl the stumps first ball for Green. So hopefully he does it right. But I think the bowlers for England actually weren't that bad, bar Jack Leach.
He went for 102 runs in 13 overs.
That is embarrassing. But everyone else bowled. I thought everyone else bowled okay.
Pick of the ball is probably Ollie Robinson.
Ollie Robinson, pick of the bowlers. I think I really, really like the look of Mark Wood. I think he is like an effort player. Like he put 100% in every single over that he bowled. And did he bowl the most overs?
Yeah.
Yeah, him with Wokes pretty much bowled the most overs.
Yeah.
And he was just putting in the work every bowl, and he was like bowling up about around the 150k mark for the whole test.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think him and Robinson were definitely the pick of the bowlers. Robinson for the line and length, and he's going to be a pretty big talent for England, I think, in the future once he gets a bit more mature and gets more consistent.
Pretty solid target for England. Comes out and look, a better start than last time, but once again Rory Burns gets knocked over in 8.6 overs.
Yeah, it's just
the
not
back foot again.
Just not good. Not good.
But they did have a solid setup.
They did. Root and Milan. Milan, I think, was similar to David Warner in his innings. Got very lucky throughout the innings until he got over pretty much 50, 60 runs and he looked pretty solid and got out and gave Gary the Goat his 400th wicket from an absolute sitter to Marnus under the lid.
Yeah.
And then that was terrible batting though. That was it, day 4. That was terrible. They came out after next day. They got out 3 wickets before the new ball came out. 3 wickets in the 70th.
Nathan Lyon was bowling really well.
He was, but
really well.
I actually think he bowled well in the first innings, but just wasn't because the pitch hadn't deteriorated that much. He just wasn't getting any luck or proper bounce or deviation and stuff. So when he bowled this innings, even he said that he bowled about the same.
Yeah.
But because the pitch had deteriorated and was playing mind games with them a bit, he got some wickets off of it. But that was terrible. But I can't believe they allowed them there were like 5 out by the new ball coming in, and then like they had 2 fresh bowlers with the new ball. So I think it was pretty disgraceful. And their batting is the main issue. I think the bowlers, even though all the media was based on the bowlers throughout,
The bowlers were fine.
the bowlers were good.
Fine, yeah.
Like
The
Leach
batters-
was the only probably the bad
best
one, but
man,
the
yeah.
Australia plan was to attack him. So
Yeah. And hit up. England managed to make 297, setting a target of a whopping
whopping.
20. And guess what? Oh, Marcus Harris didn't get out.
But
Way to-
how many balls did he
He
face?
faced 10 balls.
10
Way
balls.
to bump your average up by not getting out, mate.
Literally.
You're still terrible.
And Carey
Moved up. 'Cause
David Warner was injured, so he
Yeah.
started in a position that he hasn't played in since like
Yeah.
2016 or something in the Sheffield Shield for 1 game.
Yeah, and hey,
And he
shout out
batted
to
alright, but he just...
shout out to England for giving 2 no balls, alright?
Yeah.
And the target of 20. Shout out to them.
Oh man. Anyway, we'll move on from that. So I think it was a pretty woeful performance from the England
Terrible.
batsmen.
They're a lot better than what they put up.
Yeah, much better. So we're going to move on to our man of the matches. So we've decided to choose 2 different men of the matches for each team. However, we'll start with England.
It's got to be.
We
Joe
could not come up with 2 different people because there wasn't really. Maybe you could give a shout to Robinson, but
If you compare him with the other bowlers of Australia, he'd probably
he would probably be the 4th best bowler
Yeah.
in the game. So I just can't do it. But Joe Root, first innings, woeful, got out for a duck.
Did he go for a
Yeah,
duck?
7-ball
right,
duck
yeah.
I think it was, and then but yeah, he stood up in that second innings and gave them the hope they needed. I think his captaincy was pretty bang average. He's a captain that I remember the commentary team saying it. He's a captain that is 2 overs behind. He's never someone that places a field in and then gets a wicket straight away. Like he's not someone that is. I think he just hasn't got many ideas. He doesn't really have a clue as captain, in my opinion. You see like the likes of Morgan for their one-dayers.
Yeah.
He's a great captain. That's why they're one of the best in the world at the one-day format. But I just don't think Joe Root is a great captain for England.
They're not.
But they have no one else.
They have no one else.
They have absolutely no
lack
one
of
else.
choice.
Yeah.
Just Joe Root or
Maybe Butler. But Butler's been
Butler's
in and out
about
of
to
that
be retired as
team.
well,
Yeah. And most of the team's young. Maybe Stokes, but
Stokes doesn't care. About
Stokes,
that.
yeah, I don't think he's there to captain.
I think Root's more of like a lead the team by doing it.
Example,
as opposed to
yeah.
Coaching them or just
I completely
speaking
agree.
to them. So that'll be a different way to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, Joe Root, man of the match, done dusted.
Done
Nothing
dusted.
else.
No one else. Yep. For Australia, I think there were a lot of standouts. To be fair to Australia, but 2 main standouts. I think we thought. So what's yours, mate?
I got Travis Head, just purely based on that first inning score. He was pretty decent in the field as well. He
It was great. Yeah, he got a couple catches or a catch.
But yeah, to hit 152 of like 108 balls is pretty good, especially on the first day.
Yeah, that's
On the first day, on the first day, yeah.
throughout the first,
Second day,
into the second
especially
day,
when
yeah.
the pitch was relatively new and
Yeah.
some bowlers are bowling some decent balls. It's pretty good, I thought, but that's my pick.
No, I completely agree. I feel like he pretty much put it out of doubt
Yeah.
for England. Like, at the end of the day, England
they
had
were
a
in
little bit of
trouble.
momentum. They
Yeah,
had a
they
little bit of
were in
momentum.
trouble.
We
We
lost
lot
a couple
had gone
wickets.
on. Yeah, Cameron Green let us down again.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it sort of helped us out, and he got some really quick runs, and Starkey there held on for quite some time with
Yeah.
him and gave him that platform, and yeah, I think that's very fair. And obviously, the other one had to be Cummins, Pfeiffer, in the first innings.
Who actually did get the man of the match? Was it
Cummins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
No, he didn't. Sorry, Head got man of the match.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, big man.
But Cummins, Pfeiffer in the first innings, captaincy very, very good. I think, from what I'm hearing, Steve Smith had a lot to do with the fielding placements.
Yeah.
So I can't really give him props for that but I don't see why is everyone salty at Smith having such like a say in the team. Of course he's going to have a say in the team.
Yeah.
He's in the slips cordon. He
Yeah.
can see everything. He's a very experienced captain. He's a very experienced cricket player. He's probably one of the best brains Australia has.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to set like the field, or at least help set the field for Cummins. But Cummins made all the decisions in regards to bowling lineups and when each bowler happened, and I think he pretty much was flawless. Maybe other than day 3, he made probably a couple of mistakes there, but it's his first test as captain, and he fixed it up coming into day 4 and got a couple of wickets and took them apart, mate. So I think that's our man of the matches. I think rightfully so. Now we're going to move on to the most likely players to be dropped from each team. Now, I think England's pretty easy. You could pretty much drop half the team and we can have an argument for it. But we've selected one each again. What's your player for England, mate?
I'm going with Jackie Boy, Jack Leach.
Jack Leach. I wonder why, mate. What's the reasoning? I don't understand.
To go 102 runs in a test match in 13 overs.
You're pretty much going for...
He's going for 7 and over, and that's 2020. That's 2020 style. Like, I think...
Yeah.
Surely, in a country of England's population, they have other bowlers that they can at least try out. I know Jack Leach was good in India, but if he hasn't performed well in Australia before, I mean, they know that Australians have a knack of hitting the spinner out.
Yep.
Especially Jack Leach out of all the people.
I just don't understand why they even brought in a spinner for the Gabba. The Gabba isn't a spin track. If they're not confident, obviously they must have been somewhat confident.
I think they just need someone to chew up the overs.
Yeah, make the over rate go a bit quicker. Even though, you seen they got fined 100% of their the match fee because they were that slow.
Wow, I did not see that.
And they had a spinner.
But he only bowled 13 overs because he got knocked around the park. So I mean, you couldn't.
But they also bowled Joe Root as well.
4 overs.
But I mean, how many overs were there other than that? That's probably like 50 overs for his pace.
Because Nathan Lyon bowled 28 to 30 overs in day 4. So I mean, that's true. It's a good chunk. So I think they just need to figure out which one to go. Because I think they've got some good spinners coming up. They got, I think, Dom Bess.
I wouldn't call Dom Bess a good spinner, mate. I think he is much worse.
Apparently they've got some really young kid in someone called Matt back in England they didn't pick because they wanted to give Dom Bess another chance. So obviously... Right. They've got some stuff coming up, so I think Jack Leach should be very worried about his position. I think he'll drop very soon.
I think though I heard this on another podcast too. So shout out to them. Not gonna say what it is though. That if they drop Leach, that's pretty much him done. Like his confidence would be that shot. But they're also saying maybe. They might have excuses for dropping him rather than saying, he was shit. They could say, obviously, we're going into a day-nighter at Adelaide, like, it'll suit more seam, movement, swing, so we won't even bring one in. But I just feel like that he'd be done. Like, they'd have to be, if they bring in another spin, it has to be Dom Bess, right? Yeah. So, that's worrying. My drop is Burns. Because as much as I...
Not Joe Burns.
Not Joe Burns, because he's already been dropped. English Burns. I think his performances speak for himself. I just don't think he's a batsman for Australia conditions. He's so unorthodox that it doesn't work here. Like, it might work in England, but his average in Australia is like 29 or something. Yeah. Which is just not acceptable for an opener. Yeah. Like, I think he averages in like the high 30s in England, which in England is quite good. But for an opener... He's just not good enough. However, they've got absolutely no one to replace him. Like, there is him or there is Crawley, who is averaging, I think this season, is averaging about 19 runs. Yeah. So he is not in any good form. And he's also not playing in the reserve team.
Has he played in Australia before Crawley?
Crawley, I think he played last.
Because...
Ashes.
Before in Australia, not...
I don't know if he played in Australia or not.
Rishbar Pan. Before he played for Australia, his average was terrible. And they gave him a chance because they had to play him because there's no one else batting. Yeah. And then now he's the best Indian batsman, arguably, in Australia.
Yeah, without a doubt.
In Australia.
Flat track bully.
So I think they just need to they just need to give people a chance so that they know that, alright, if we're playing Australia, which is, you're going to do that every year basically. Yeah. Ashes. Yeah. You need someone that's like a specialised Australia. Every country needs one. Because Australia, you're going to play Australia at least once every 2 years.
That's true.
So you need someone who's actually like good at just hitting seam in a flat track.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just hope that they get him in the nets over the next couple of weeks. as these couple of tests because I think it's going to get a lot harder for him in day-night conditions, especially if we select the bat first and we send them out in like twilight time, like of the next day. He's going to have an absolute nightmare seeing like Stark and Cummins. Like, it's probably lucky that Hazelwood's not playing.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that later, but because he would trouble him a lot being so consistent with his line length and being able to swing late and stuff. But I still think the quality in Australian bowling, he's going to have a hard time in day-nighters if he gets sent in at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Well, moving on. We've got our team predictions now.
Harris.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Never mind. We've got our most likely to be dropped in Australia, which is not many players. I'm going to start, and I'm going to say the obvious one again, Marcus Harris. It's similar with Burns, actually. I just don't, even though he's an Australian player, his form, right now is just not good enough.
It's different from Burns because there's so many people who can replace Harris.
That's it. And there's no one for Burns, really. That's it. Harris has so many people. Examples. Khawaja could, even though at the moment he hasn't been batting in this season for Sheffield Shield, he hasn't been batting at the top. He's been batting at 5, I think. But he still has the form to open for Australia comfortably. There's also the likes of Maddie Renshaw, who at the moment is batting 3, I think, for the reserve team. He's only scoring 30, 40 runs, but in his Sheffield, he was smacking around. He got a few centuries in the Sheffield, and it was only last Ashes in Australia, he made a maiden ton.
Yeah.
So I'm what the hell? And they only dropped him. They didn't even drop him for his form in international cricket. They dropped him because of his form in Sheffield cricket.
Yeah.
They didn't even give him a chance to come back. I don't understand the choice of Harris over someone like Renshaw, especially as Renshaw hasn't really even been mentioned. Yeah. He's in the squad, but it's not even Harris is under threat from Renshaw. Have you even heard of this?
No.
And I know they've guaranteed Harris the first 2 test matches.
Have they?
Yeah. So he's not going to be dropped.
I think it's because Harris has good partnership with chemistry with David Warner.
David Warner, that's it. Because David Warner likes to get on a bit and Harris likes to take his time.
David Warner's a piece of shit. Only some people can.
But what's yours, mate?
And this is assuming everyone's fit and injured, but we know that Hazelwood's not. But if Hazelwood was injured, another person that they could consider dropping would be Stark.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because he's probably the oldest out of the 3 bowlers, and they probably would need to start giving some of their young bowlers some experience in the big stage.
Yeah.
Richardson, only 22, 23. He's a good kid to come replace. And Australia's always going to have good fast bowlers. There's never been a time where Australia's terrible fast bowlers.
Exactly right.
They're spoiled for choice. And Stark, as Jack's already said, hasn't been in the best form. I think he's good for 2 things. Bowling the first 2 overs and cleaning up the tail.
That's it. He's the mop, mate. That's why he's called the mop.
Only thing. But I think lately, he hasn't been as good at the first 2 overs, apart from the first ball this game. But it's cleaning up the mop. Look, I think any of the fast bowlers could do that.
Yeah.
It's just, I think if I had to pick another one apart from Harris, I'd probably go Stark.
Yeah.
To drop him off. But they're not going to drop him after this game. Why would they drop him if they're not injured? So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think they will drop him, well, not drop him, but they'll rest him throughout the series. Probably, I would say they'll probably rest him for the Melbourne game, because the Melbourne's not a day-nighter. Is the Melbourne day-nighter?
To miss the MCG test is huge for Stark.
Is MCG day-nighter?
Boxing Day. It's the Boxing Day one, isn't it?
Yeah, but is it a day-nighter? Is that one day-nighter?
I don't think so.
Because of what they've got Hobart's now a day-nighter.
Yeah.
They've got Melbourne. Is Melbourne day-nighter? Melbourne must be day-nighter.
I'm not sure.
There's 3 day-nighters now.
What's the 5th test? Sydney? Is it?
No, it's fifth test is Hobart.
What about SCG? Is that day-nighter?
Oh, maybe. I'm not too sure. But I'm going to say they'll drop him for a test that isn't a day-nighter.
But if it's the Boxing Day test, they're not going to drop him. Because he'd much rather want to drop the one that's not the Boxing Day test.
Right. I think the Boxing Day test is the SCG, and I don't think it's a day-nighter.
Okay, yeah. Then that's fine.
But, yeah, I think Richardson's chance will come this series. They will, especially if we get a 2-3-0 lead.
Yeah.
I think it's silly not to give these guys a go.
Yeah.
Because we've already won.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Stark's just not as consistent as he used to be.
Yeah.
And he still couldn't even mop up the tail.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, it was Lyon that
Cummins,
mopped
yeah.
up the tail and Cummins with the last couple.
Yeah.
So I just think, yeah, like you said, I think there's a lot of people knocking on the door, like the likes of Nisa, Jai Richardson, the Warwick GOAT, Mark Steckety,
Sean Abbott's another.
Sean
good
Abbott
show
coming
for
in
Lyon,
too.
yeah.
So I think there's a lot of people wanting that spot. So I think it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
This is probably his last Ashes,
Probably, yeah.
at least
It'd be a
on
safe bet,
Australian
yeah.
soil.
Safe bet, yeah.
But yeah. All right, let's go into our team predictions now. Now we're going to do what we want the teams to be, because at the end of the day, we pretty much know that Australia's not going to change the team, other
Yeah.
than Hazelwood, who will. I'm about 900% sure it's going to be Jai Richardson coming in.
Yeah.
So, but this is the team that we would choose if we were the selectors
Yeah.
for both England and Australia.
Alright.
I'll start with England. So, we're going to drop Burns.
Yep. Both
Now-
of us, yeah.
I feel like it's pretty much bringing one in and bringing another guy who's just
Yeah.
equally as shit in, but at least he's a different player.
Different, yeah.
So we're bringing in Crawley.
Yep.
Well, I'm bringing in Crawley, but we'll go through yours and see.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll go through it together.
So
Yeah,
our openers are set in stone. We're both happy with Crawley
Yep.
to come in and Hamid.
Hamid, he's a good player.
He's
young
good.
player.
He didn't do anything terrible, so he was good.
He was pretty much probably the top three
Yeah.
batsmen they had. It was
Yeah.
him, Root.
Milan.
I wouldn't even. I guess you'd put Milan
Yeah.
in there, but I'd put Pope in there as well
Yeah.
for young.
So our top five are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Crawley, Hamid, Milan, Root, and
Stokes. I think they're definites. Like you can't. Well, other than Crawley, but I mean, from 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
they will be 100% in, and I can't see a reason why to change them. Even though I'm making a prediction right now, Milan is going to have a horrible season,
Yeah.
a horrible series.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he got quite lucky, and he's going to really struggle with the day nighters.
Yeah.
So there you go. I'm going to say, over the 3 day nighters there are, I think he's going to average 15.
Yeah.
There's a big shout. We'll come back to that.
And this is our first difference.
Number 6. I am sticking with Pope. I think he's a really good young player.
Yeah.
He played a terrible shot to Gary the Goat, Lyon. But I think in that first innings he's proved what he can do. But he's just still a very, very young player. But you've gone back to the old ways, mate. The Ranger man himself.
I've dropped Pope not because he's a terrible player, but I just wanted something different for the attack for England. Because I feel like Pope's pretty much the similar player to Milan or Root. So if they're going to drop Milan, Pope's the one to come in next.
Mm-hmm.
But I've dropped Pope and brought in another wicketkeeper. A man that was really good at hitting 20-20 shots in a test game, Johnny Bairstow. Now,
Ooh.
look, it's just a different attack. Different attack. They need more strike power. Because they got too much of the similar players in the top order.
Yeah.
So just bringing in Johnny Bairstow. Having Stokes, Bairstow, and number 7, Butler together. They're all power hitters.
Yeah.
So that'll be a different threat
That's true.
for England. Just to get power on a bit more runs.
But what happens if, say, the top 4 get out and you're left with Stokes and Bairstow or Stokes and Butler?
Well, that's what you do. You just go all in.
Surely it's better to have, like, a guy that can steer the ship a bit with Pope,
It is. Yeah.
chewing up a bit more balls and letting the other person do the end go, eh?
But hey, I'll pick Bairstow.
You've already done Bairstow. That's fair enough. Well, that's
We'll see what
understandable.
happens.
I think,
it's a very long shot. Bairstow gets picked up.
Yeah,
over
no,
Pope, but
I agree.
I think it'll be a different move if have Bairstow in.
I think Pope belongs higher up the order anyway. I
It's
think
it's gonna
6
be-
is too low for him. He
They'll
can't do
have to
anything.
swap Milan and Pope and drop Milan over and bring someone
Eventually,
else in.
yeah.
Or even Sibley is a good shout to come in, but
Yeah, or even when Stokes gets fit, move Stokes up to 3 and put Pope at 5.
Stokes.
I just think Pope, by the time he gets in, normally he's left with Butler and Robinson
Yeah.
to go with. Like normally it's a little collapse there in the middle
Yeah.
they have because Stokes is just not fit enough yet because
Yeah.
he's just come back. So he's really he's just got no time.
And then our 7, 8, 9, and 10 basically are the same, are we?
We've gone with
Butler, Robinson.
Broad, Anderson.
Yeah.
We're all happy with that?
Broad, Anderson.
Yeah. Who's going to be your keeper, by the way, mate?
Oh, just Butler. He hasn't done anything wrong, so just
He's
keep
not
Butler.
great. He's a pretty crappy.
That's the whole point. If Butler's shitting the bed, bring Bairstow halfway through the game.
Yeah. So we've both brought back in Broad and Anderson.
You have to.
I think you have to as well.
Especially with their history with David Warner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely agree. But this is our last one that we're a bit different. Now, I'll give you mine first.
Okay.
And the reasoning behind it. I've gone, which I feel like a lot of people are saying Wokes, but I don't rate Wokes that much.
Okay.
I understand that he's like the Hazelwood of type player where he's line length, good seam, and will be really good in a day-nighter, which is coming up. So I understand why that. But Mark Wood is the person I chose, just because that last test, he's a guy that's putting in 150k bolters.
Yeah.
He was so consistent. He was sprinting in every time, putting in 100%. You need a player, and especially a bowler, that you know you can always just give the ball to. That's going to try their best and do a job for you.
Yeah.
But that means that I've come in with no spinners, which could be really bad for their overrate, especially as if they could not do their overrate quick enough with a spinner in the team.
Yeah.
So that's probably not going to happen. But I actually really do think they're going to come in with no spinners and rely on Root to be there, and he'll have like 20 odd overs Root, which I think's horrible because I think Australia's going to go after him.
Yeah.
But I don't see the choices. But what have you gone with, mate?
I've dropped Jack Leach obviously because he's terrible.
Yeah.
And I've gone with Dom Bess to give him another shot, and I think because he bowled really well against Sri Lanka, and he was a different option. I think he's a leg spinner, if I want to double check. But just the same reason, just to chew up the overrates through, and then just don't put so much pressure on Root to bat and bowl as well. He's an off break, off spinner. But I think having Dom Bess would give them a different attack. I think Australia haven't played him yet, so they probably wouldn't know
how to attack him. Yeah,
it'll give them a couple of overs of stability and just slow playing.
That's true.
Dom Bess and seeing what he does. But I think I'm purely picking Dom Bess for two reasons. You need a spinner to take pressure off Root and to chew up the overhead. That's the only two reasons.
Yeah.
If I wanted the best five bowlers, obviously Mark Wood, Chris Wilkes would be probably in there. But I'll put in Dom Bess for those two reasons.
Yep, that's fair. And we obviously put in Robinson because he was probably the top
pick of the bowlers,
pick of the bowlers last time, and he's a player that's why I haven't put Wokes in because he's similar line length. You don't want two Hazelwoods in your team.
No.
So
for
Australia, we've pretty much picked the identical team.
We've got 10 similar players, and that's it.
That's
the last spot of Hazelwood's injury to replace.
That's it. So we've changed the starting order though.
Have we?
Yeah, well we've brought in this absolute goat of a man.
Yeah.
As I was speaking before, we're not a big fan of Marcus Harris, so we've dropped him, and we're going to bring in Maddie Renshaw.
The turtle.
The turtle.
Queensland boy.
The 6 foot, however tall he is, absolute beast, Maddie Renshaw, who made a test debut 100
against Sri Lanka as well, I think.
Against Sri Lanka, I'm pretty sure he did in the Ashes.
Did he?
I thought he did in the Ashes.
Because I know.
It was the pink test.
Pink ball.
Pink ball.
Okay.
No, it wasn't the pink ball. It was the McGrath.
Okay.
McGrath at the SCG.
Yeah.
It was 4 years ago, so I assume that would have been Australia Ashes, I think.
Oh, he's English born.
He's English born, yeah. That's
He's a
even
Pommy.
better, mate. That's even better. It's a jab a little bit, you know. Your English boy's doing this. But he has a great record in Australia. He's just a good bloke all round too. He's a Queenslander like us. And there was no reason to drop him, like we mentioned earlier. So I think we're both set with him, with David Warner at the start. We've gone with.
His test debut was against South Africa, by the way.
Against South Africa?
Yeah.
Really? What about his maiden ton? His first 100.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pretty certain that was against England in the Ashes. Yeah. Anyway, if not, you can correct me. We've gone with obviously Marnus, Lasagna, or Labashang, or Labashagni.
He's got his first Test century against Pakistan in the SCG.
Oh, the Pakistan SCG then.
His fourth match. So, I mean, look, he became the first Australian cricketer to score 500 Test runs before turning 21.
There you go.
Why are you not picking him? Pick him.
And we haven't even heard anything about him. Terrible. Anyway, Marnus, 3. Stevie Smith, obviously, 4. Travis Head, you can't not select him anymore because he just showed that. So that's that out of the window. We're stuck with Green
Cameron
because
Green.
I think his bowling is improving, and
Yep.
if he can just put his bat on the ball in the first ball of
Yep.
the over, he might actually be all right.
Yeah.
Carey did nothing wrong at wicketkeeper.
He was good. He had 8
Very
dismissals,
strong.
Yeah, probably most since Gilly.
Yeah, tying with the most on debut as well. Paddy Cummins, captain, obviously.
It'd be funny if you drop Pat Cummins in the second test, though.
That wouldn't be funny.
You'd be like, what are you
Steve
doing?
Smith, captain.
What are you doing?
We've stuck with Mitchell Stark
Yeah.
because I think it'd be rude not to put him
After the first ball.
of the first ball, and plus a day-nighter.
Yeah.
You can't not pick Stark in a day-nighter. We've gone with Gary the Goat, obviously.
I feel for any spinner Australia's going to bring. Because I think, unless you're playing in like Sri Lanka or in India, you're always going to go with Nathan Lyon.
Yep.
Like I feel bad for like Swapson who's already in the squad. I
Swapson,
think he
Zampa.
deserves a spot, but you're not going to get over the guy who got 401 wickets for Australia. So
Yeah,
I mean,
no, that's right. When he retires, maybe.
yeah.
I guess that was similar to Lyon in his early career, though,
Yeah.
with waiting for Shane Warne to
Warne,
go. And then, with my pick, this is our only difference.
Yeah.
Due to the fact with his results that he got from I guess it's not a practice game, but the Australian A game against the England Lions, where he took in the first innings for him, he took a fifer. He went for 15 overs at 1.8 economy for 5 wickets.
That's pretty good.
And he's not bowling against mugs. Like, there are some good names in there. But he just made them look silly. And in the second innings, he got another 2 wickets at the best economy rate out of the team, other than a couple of the part-timers, which bowled a few overs. But he bowled the second most overs, other than Swepson, that bowled 46 overs.
Yeah.
Holy dooly.
Damn.
He doubled the amount of everyone else. But I think he's just a consistent bowler.
Yeah.
But I know they're going to pick your guy who you've picked,
Jai
which is
Richardson.
obvious with Jai Richardson.
They both have had good or pretty devastating Sheffield Shield
Yep.
form. But, so according to Travis Head, right, so I'm reading from my phone right here.
Okay.
Travis Head.
Right, read away.
The clinch is that the 25-year-old, which is Jai Richardson, he's played a day-night test before with a pink ball, and the last time he played, he got 5 wickets. Wait, what? Apparently he played really well the last time there was a pink ball test.
Yeah. He did really, really well. I remember because he only
I think
got
it was
dropped
against-
because of his
it was
injury.
against, so in his 2 first-class matches under the lights, he picked up 9 wickets at an average of 14. So I think he has. I think he get picked.
I think he will definitely get picked.
Because he's played the day-night test.
Day-nighter as well. Yep.
He's got the baggy green before.
Yep. That's a good stat.
Yeah.
I rate that. Plus, he's the golden boy. Can't not pick him.
Yeah.
And hopefully he doesn't have his shoulder injury again or whatever it
Yeah.
was. Poor guy. Anyway, like we mentioned before, injuries. The only injury that we know of at the moment, even though England looked like they had about 1,000 injuries during
Yeah.
the game with Stokes having his leg issue. I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's fit.
Joffrey Archer is still a big one that's they're missing.
Archer they're missing, but he's out for the whole series.
Yeah. That's rough on England though. Having Joffrey Archer would have made a difference.
Yeah, at least
in
had a
the
little bit of
Gabba.
intimidation
In the Gabba
factor
as
at the
well,
Gabba. Yep.
Big Joff.
But other than that, I think all the other bowlers are pretty fit, other than Hazelwood, obviously, as we mentioned, has a side strain, which you could probably tell during that. That's the reason why he did not bowl on day 4.
Yeah.
But that is
You're
all
lucky
that
you
we've
have
heard of.
You're lucky you have another really good bowler on your team.
Literally.
Paddy Cummins. Or Mitch Stark. Or even Lyon. I mean,
They all bowl really well. Now, we're going to get to our final segment, which is our brand new segment. We're calling it Third Umpire's Decision. Or for short, TUD. The TUD decision, the TUD discussion of the week. Okay, so when we mention TUD, just our little segment, because we're the third umpires.
100%.
All right.
We're always correct. Never
Yeah,
wrong.
that's it. So we're going to have a discussion. And this discussion for this week is going to be on our favourite moment in cricket history. Okay, so we were going to do Ashes, but as Rich is a Sri Lankan fan, and only just got into the Ashes, probably the last Ashes
Sri Lanka
series.
National as well, not just
Sri Lankan national,
Yeah,
sorry
yeah,
mate,
yeah,
yeah.
all
A
right.
dual citizen.
Well, not really.
He's over here illegally.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Cut that
out. We're going to just do it. Favourite moments in history of cricket. Now, I feel like having the nostalgia, like, factor is a big factor. So I feel like, obviously, older listeners might think of things back in the day with a bit of Bradman or a bit of something else. But for me, for my favourite moment in cricket history would have been... What was it? What do you think it was?
Oh, well, it was probably the Ashes first ball.
By who?
Ryan Harris.
Oh,
But
a better Harris. The Ryan
that,
Harris.
My Ashes moment, if I had to pick one, I think it would have probably been Peter Siddle's hat-trick.
Oh, the Peter Siddle's hat-trick on his birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, they're very close. I forgot
I
about the
think
moment.
if I had... Ryan Harris is good, but I don't think he's a big name as Peter Siddle. Like, Peter Siddle's a character.
Yeah.
He's a character. So I think his hat-trick would have been a better choice for you, but... Hey.
Right, well, if you haven't seen it, I will show it right now, because considering this is going on YouTube.
Okay.
I will show the famous Ryan Harris moment right here.
All right.
How good was that?
Good. Great.
How damn good was that? The only thing that ruined the Siddle one was fucking what's his name, Mark, the commentator, who ruined the commentary when they said, "Oh, it's a hat trick on his birthday," and the guy's like, "It's not yet. It's not yet. It's gone up to whatever it was. They've reviewed it and stuff. Oh, you just ruined it. That's why Marcus Harris, absolute peach of a ball, unplayable." Right next to the crack, didn't even deviate off the crack. It was more like a deviate from the seam, and just like floated. The way the ball didn't rotate after it hit the ground, it floated and nicked the off stump bail. Oh, beautiful moment.
So my turn. I'd like to ask you a question, Dali.
Yeah,
Do you like David and Goliath stories?
I love David and Goliath stories, mate. I love when David wins too.
My favourite moment in the cricket includes the David and Goliath story. 1996. The year I was born. Year before I was born.
It's my year. I was born.
But it's what made Sri Lanka the cricket nation it was. Beating Australia in the final of the Cricket World Cup. Coming from not a nation at all to win the World Cup. Probably my favourite moment.
Wow.
Or, just give me another nominee. Right. Or when the world's highest partnership was made by 2 Sri Lankan batsmen in South Africa. I think, 700 runs?
Yeah, was it not televised or anything?
It was, yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
I think it was fake.
Oh, fake.
Call him fake.
This is an outrage. But no, I mean, for me, obviously, it's just Sri Lanka beating Australia.
Yeah.
Because Australia won, 3 straight World Cups at that time? Or
Well,
like
our
time.
team was stacked.
Yeah. You had like a stacked team in Australia. Sri Lanka had probably not a lot of famous people, because that's what made Sri Lanka famous in cricket.
Yep.
That World Cup. So that's probably my favourite moment.
Oh, beautiful, mate.
The Tud.
The Tud discussion.
Brought to you by Leg Before Wicket.
Well, thank you very much for having a chat. Not by the daybed today, unfortunately. Different segment. Chat under the lid, mate. With our new show.
Under the lid.
It's been great, mate. Under the lid with you.
Oh, mate.
It's been a bit dangerous, mate, at times.
Mate,
Nearly got hit in the head a few times, but we're
chat
here.
spraying everywhere.
That's
good.
it. That's it.
It's good.
The next
No
time we're back here.
bounces so far, though.
No bounces, no, mate.
Because
None.
nothing spicy. Maybe next segment. Next
segment,
week.
maybe.
Next week or next one.
Yeah, our next
Definitely a bouncer.
episode, should we record it after the Ashes have been played? As a
After the second test?
after the second test, because second test for us starts tomorrow. No, it doesn't. It starts Thursday.
Yep. But, hey,
As recording this right now, we're recording on Tuesday.
I
But
think so. Yeah, probably.
I think we'll come up with another installment of Under the Lid.
Sponsored by
This probably this time next week.
Yeah.
Once Australia's gone 2-0 up. Once Jai Richardson's taken a fifer. Once
Or
Milan's got out for average of 15 runs.
once Zach Crawley hits 100 in his test in Australia.
Which he's
And
not going to
Dom
be playing
Best
against.
gets a fifer. Wow, imagine the scene if
Dom
Dom Best
Best
gets
gets
a
a
fifer. If
Neither
Dom
of those
Best
players
gets
are
a
gonna be
fifer,
playing.
I'll buy you a McFlurry.
Well,
No, if Dom Best gets a bumper, you buy me a black party. What?
yeah, I'll do that because he's not going to be in the squad, so that's
Okay,
fine.
alright.
It has to be a fifer in the Ashes team, not
Yeah,
in the
obviously,
Australian
yeah.
A team.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
All right, done. But thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Peace.